Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Quick Expert Reviews. Today we've got a Samsung Galaxy A51, which is the successor to the last year's Samsung Galaxy A50. And obviously we've got the glass stick back, which is a plastic that looks like glass, so Samsung calls it glass stick. Then we've got 4 cameras on the back as well. And to be honest, it doesn't feel that much bigger than the last year's A50. It actually isn't that much bigger. It's like a 1mm wider. We've got a power button, volume up, volume down on the side, second microphone on the very top. Then we've got the SIM card and memory card tray on the side, and then Type-C headphone jack and a mono bottom firing speaker on the bottom itself. I'm going to open the tray in a second. So yeah, this actually houses the SIM card. So obviously there is no removable back. That's a thing of the past for Samsung. It's a dual SIM variant, and it also houses the memory card separately, which means you're not sacrificing a SIM card if you want to put a memory card. The internal storages start from 64 gig, and this is actually the 64 gig model as well. With 4 gigs of RAM, but later on that. And we've got a 6.5 inch AMOLED display with a 32 megapixel camera on the very front. So again, not a huge difference from the A50. The A50 was 6.4, this is 6.5. But yeah, let's start with the usual thing, which are the settings. So we're going to have a look into about the phone, because we want to see what we are running on. Obviously it is an Android, but it is an Android 10, which is the latest one with the Samsung One UI 2.0. So we've got some additional features, which I'm going to cover obviously in this video. So let's have a look. What have we got in here? So the battery is 4000 milliampere hours. The storage is 64 gigs. The memory is 4 gigs of RAM. What security? Anti-malware? Nah. Ain't gonna do that. No, seriously. I mean, installing anti-malwares and stuff like that, obviously everyone has their own opinion, but for me, these are only apps that keep draining your battery, and as long as you download apps that are verified by Google Play Store and you look at the reviews, you should be safe. I've been running Android phones since 2007, never ever had a virus or anything like that. But yes, carrying on, we've got Bixby Routines, which allows us to set certain scenarios and tasks that happen, that trigger. So for example, when we get home, we can set up a Bixby routine to switch on Wi-Fi and switch off mobile data automatically, and let's say go into silent mode as well. Then advanced features, we've got the one-handed mode, which, okay, let's have a look. So you do a gesture from the home button. Okay, or you can do it from the sides. Okay, that's not working really well. Okay, I'm a bit confused. So it's showing that this is okay. That worked really well. So you're supposed to slide down from the home button, which is what I'm doing, and it's not happening, Samsung. It's not. Oh my God. How can you make something so simple so complicated? That's beyond me. Okay, all right. Wow. This is amazing. Okay, so you have to aim between the buttons to use one-handed mode. Seriously. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay. So the purpose of that is obviously it's easier to reach with one hand because it's a 6.5 inch display. But unfortunately it's overly complicated. So you can just set it up for the home button. So you just tap home button twice and it reduces the size of the screen. And I would kind of keep it this way. However, if you want to go into full gesture mode where you don't have the home, back and recent button, unfortunately that means you need to use gestures if you want to use one-handed mode. So yeah. However, one-handed mode is a bit more advanced now as opposed to the previous model. So previously you still had kind of 3 buttons, but you used gestures rather than pressing the buttons. Now you've got 1 button like on the Pixel phones, if you want to operate your phone like that. But seriously, to be honest, let's just leave it the way it is. Let's not overcomplicate stuff. But yeah, that was an interesting thing to do. So in terms of security and biometrics, you can set up a under-display fingerprint sensor. You can also set up a face unlock if you'd like to. You've got an ambient display which you can trigger to be always on, so whenever you look at the phone it will show you date and time and notifications. On top of that, you can also trigger it so when you lift the phone it will tell you everything. The idea is that it preserves the battery life because you don't have to unlock the phone, for example. When we go into the display, we've got the adaptive brightness, obviously the blue light filter that removes the blue hue, so it puts less strain on your eyes, especially in low light conditions. We've got a dark mode across the system as well. So obviously you've got a black background, again preserves the battery life, especially on the AMOLED displays. We can adjust the vividness of the screen as well to our liking, colder, warmer, as we like. So obviously for a phone that's priced around £280, it's nice that there's so much to configure. Then we've got the Edge display, which used to be a thing with the Edge phones, like the S7 Edge, S6 Edge and so on. Nowadays it's on every single Samsung phone, and it was one of my favorite features of the Note 10 Plus that I used to have. Really useful for the shortcuts. In terms of sound and vibration, we do have Dolby Atmos. However, it only works over headphones. Alternatively, if you do plug in a external speaker to the 3.5mm jack, it does work as well. And then we've got the upscaling of the low quality audio. We can also place sound separately on the phone and on a Bluetooth speaker if you want to. Then in terms of connections, obviously we've got MirrorLink, we've got NFC to use Google Pay and dreaded Samsung Pay, which doesn't work with every single bank in UK, unfortunately. So I'm with Lloyds, I couldn't use that. We've got the game launcher, or the game enhancer as some people call it, which puts all our games in one place. One of my favorite features of the Samsung phones. And then we've got additional settings, like for example we can choose the recording quality, because now we can record videos as well while we play. We can also pair our Discord channel if we want to, and then we can choose between focus on performance, focus on power saving, so it will sacrifice some frames in games towards saving battery life. And then we go into the camera. So we've got a pretty decent setup in here. 48 megapixel camera with an f-stop 2.0, 12 megapixel with an f-stop of 2.2, that's the ultra wide, and then the macro lens which is 5 megapixels with an f-stop of 2.4. In terms of video recording, we can record up to 4K in 30 frames per second. Unfortunately the 1080p is also 30 frames per second. Unless I've missed the option where you can trigger 60 frames. Oh no, it actually does allow you to record in 60 frames, so my bad. Then we've got a Pro mode. However, even though Samsung said that they are bringing the Pro mode into the video recording, unfortunately it's still not the case in here. So you can't manually adjust any features, any settings while recording the video. Which is a bit of a bummer, to be honest, because they used to do that and then they took it off. And actually the only two companies that allow you to do that out of the box are Xiaomi and Huawei nowadays. But obviously we all know what's happening with Huawei. Then we've got the AR Doodle, which allows us to draw while we record videos. In terms of taking pictures, obviously we've got a scene optimizer, which will try to recognize, which is the icon in here, what we are actually taking the picture of. And adjust accordingly. And to be honest, the camera is pretty decent. I'll show you the samples at the very end of the video. But yes, we can also set up our own watermark, which I will do now. Which, if you're planning on posting them somewhere, it will just say Samsung Galaxy quad camera shot by Quick Expert Reviews, for example. Obviously there are apps that do that as well, but it's nice to have it built in so you don't have to use your own phone storage. And then we've got a live focus, which is used for portrait pictures and blurring the background when you take a picture of a object or something like that. Works really well with a front-facing camera as well. And the front-facing camera has an ultra-wide setting as well, so it allows you to capture more, which I'll show you obviously in the picture samples at the very end of the videos, and obviously the beloved filters as well. if you want to use that. So yeah, let's have a look what actually comes pre-installed as well. So we've got an FM radio, Samsung Health, Samsung Internet as well, and Samsung SmartThings to connect to a telly. And let's actually have a listen to the audio as well. There is no music app, so you have to use YouTube Music unless you download a third-party app. But yeah, it's not that bad actually. Let's have a listen. And one last thing I wanted to touch on is the battery life, which is actually really good. 2 days without any issues. So yeah, overall, really good phone, especially for the price. So yeah, thanks for watching another episode of Quick Expert Reviews, and I'll speak to you soon, guys. Bye!